In this tutorial, we are going to continue with conditional access policies. As we have, as I have said before, conditional access is at the heart of zero trust with Microsoft solutions, which is what we are talking about. So zero trust is again, the the policy enforcement agent for zero trust with Microsoft. And we have we have created several conditional access policies, and we are going to continue to create some more, and that's what we're going to do now. So I am at the entra.microsoft.com right here, and then I am at the section of the conditional access policies page. So here's the conditional access. If Let's take a look to see what we have so far. We have started from scratch, and then we have created a number of policies. Here they are. So we have 5 policies. 4 of them were created by Microsoft. Basically means that I used a template to create the policy, and 1 was created manually. Uh, the recommendation is that if whatever it is that you're trying to do, and there are hundreds of things in controls that you can implement using conditional access. So if the requirement that you are trying to accomplish can be done with a template, then that's what you should do. And here it says the state of the policy, all of these policies are on. So let's go back into our new policy from template options right here. We are at the secure foundation. So we've seen some of these already. So you can take a look in I'm not going to go into detail on some of this. So we already, for example, did the require multi-factor authentication for admins. We did the block legacy authentication. We also did the require multi-factor authentication for Azure management. So if this is the first time that you are watching my tutorial videos on zero trust with Microsoft services and solutions, I would suggest that you go back and take a look at some of those videos. But anyway, so um, if we click on the zero trust link, then we can see here policies that would help with the implementation and journey of zero trust. Now, some of these templates are duplicates. So when you go to secure foundation and you go to zero trust, some of them are the same, some of them are new. So um, then there is the remote work, the protect administrator. Again, some of them are duplicates. The emerging threats, for example, it's one of them. And actually, this is the one that we are going to work on over here. Okay. So, and the policy says required phishing resistant multi-factor authentication for admins. So require phishing resistant multi-factor authentication for privileged administrative accounts to reduce risk of compromise and phishing attacks. This policy requires admins to have at least one phishing resistant authentication method registered. Now, the question would be, okay, so what is a uh, multi-factor or a phishing resistant multi-factor authentication method, right? So we need to understand. So Microsoft has a whole document explaining about this and the caution. So it says before creating a policy requiring phishing resistant multi-factor authentication, make sure your administrator register the appropriate methods. Enabling this policy without completing this step risks locking you out of your tenant. So administrators can configure temporary access pass to register passwordless authentication methods, or follow the steps to register a passkey FIDO. So basically, passkey FIDOs and temporary password. These are the uh, the phishing resistant multi-factor authentication that we are talking about. You could also include there, so again, FIDO, passkeys, Windows Hello for Business, or which is like a passwordless authentication is another one. And another is the certificate-based authentication, or CBA. Like, for example, a lot of companies use a smart card, right? Or a CAC. The government use a CAC um, to for this thing. So you don't use a password to log in on any government in the United States. The DoD and that stuff. You don't use a username and password. You use a smart card to log into your computer. So those are what are referred to as the phishing resistant multi-factor authentication. So using SMS, using like a text message on your phone, or you even using an app like Microsoft Authenticator app, those are not phishing resistant authenticating methods, because some of those methods, like sometimes, let's say that somebody steal your password and you accidentally click on, you get a push notification on your phone, and instead of saying no, you say yes, then, um, you are, uh, you can be phished that way. So anyway, so um, these are, so a lot of information about this type. Let's go back to the demo. So we are going to choose this. Now you can take a look at this. If you click on view, we can take a look at this before we do anything, right? And the the template basics. Well, first of all, here we have it protects the administrators. Now, remember that we talked about this in the actually in the identities pillar of zero trust. One of the requirements is to protect those administrative accounts. We talked about PIM, or the privileged identity management, with Microsoft Entra ID. Um, and again, this is an emerging threat, is that multi-factor authentication by itself, it's not enough. You need this phishing resistant multi-factor authentication, especially for the admin accounts, right? The admins hold the key to the kingdom. If a cybersecurity criminal get a hold of the authentication, the can basically be access to either Microsoft Azure or any cloud provided environment, then they have access to everything. Now, notice over here that in the assignments, right, as always, the excluded user is the current user, which is a global admin, so that at least that admin won't be locked out. But notice that all these roles, the global administrator, the security administrator, all the powerful roles, all of these are the privileged accounts that we're talking about. Anybody who is a member of the global administrator, the security administrator, the SharePoint, etc., are considered privileged accounts. Now, it will block all global administrator except for the current user, right? And it will apply to all apps, okay? And again, the grant is, um, so grant access basically means to whoever, basically meaning whoever has this phishing resistant multi-factor authentication can go ahead and log in. So if I click on this, um, now when you so when you go here, this is, I like this. They're being very cautious about this, right? Because here you can choose the policy state, and the state is that you can turn the policy off, you can turn it on. By default, they recommend to put it in report only mode, which is it will only log anybody that tried to do this, but at least it will not block those roles and users. So, and that's what we're going to do. We can turn that on later, right? And there's the name, there's the assignment, again, all apps, blah, blah, blah. And then we're going to click on create. And this will going to start and create the policy. So it's created one more policy. So now I have 6. And this is the, actually, if I click on refresh, all right, um, where is the, all right, so here it is. Now it in the created by, it says user, and the reason why is because in this one, because you can basically the user type basically means that the user made some changes, that there was something manual. Like I could have, for example, the state of the policy, I could have turned it off, or I left it on report only mode, which is default, but I mean that I took actions. The other ones are done automatically by Microsoft and you cannot change anything, right? But this is the policy. And then here is, it's on the report only mode. And then if I click on the policy, so this is basically what we did. So here is the name. The assignment is a specific users, and it include a specific users and exclude users. So if you click on this, and this is another thing. So in other words, you can go in and change things, right? So in the include sections, it select users and groups, right? And it applies to directory roles. And there are 14 roles that this is applied to, which we already saw in the view page. That's what it's doing in the include. Now, in the exclude, it's excluding users and groups, and this is the user that it is excluding, which is my CORAD, global admin account. So that's what we're doing there. In the target, it's applying to all resources. This is what formerly was known as all cloud apps. So now it's called all resources. Okay, so everything is included and nothing is excluded. Could I exclude some resources? Yeah, I could do that if I wanted to. In the network, this is a new section. There's nothing there, so we're not gonna there. Conditions, nothing there. And in the grant, so remember that the grant, we have either block or access. Here we are granting access, but we are granting access for the users who have registered the phishing resistant multi-factor authentication methods. That's what we are doing here. And again, I could change this if I wanted to. There's no session. And the enable policy, the mode is report only. So I could, take a look at this, look at the insights, and after a while, if I am good with this, then I can come in and I can turn this on, and then now the policy is on. Okay, so that's basically what that policy does there. So if we go back to, well, actually, so we are in the policy, but if we go back to the main page over here, the insights and reporting section, it's really useful because copy the error. What is this? The error, then your administrator to access this page. Well, this is a a trial tenant that I created recently, and Apparently something that's working. But anyway, so the insights will give you a lot of insights into what's going on. Into, it says that I don't have access. I hope that this have not blocked me. Um, you know, from doing those things over there. But this is a good, uh, a good page to look at stuff and what's going on. You could also diagnose problems, on this section over here. Another thing that I wanted to show here is the authentication strength. So we were working with the phishing resistant MFA. And so if we click on this is what is considered a phishing resistant MFA, right? So we have it could be the Windows Hello for Business or platform credential, or passkeys using FIDO2, or certificate-based authentication multi-factor, which we already discussed in previously. Now, so going back to the insights and reporting, the reason why I do not have access to this is because I don't have the proper licensing. So remember that in a previous video, I talked about the Azure licensing, the P1. There are three licensing modes for Azure. There is uh, the free tier. Like if you create a trial account of 365, whatever, Azure or Microsoft Entra ID is the backbone for identities in anything that you create in the Microsoft ecosystem. So when I created this tier, I just have the P1, and the P1, you don't have access to this. So licensing is a big component of whatever you can access, not just your account. So in this case, if you want to see insights and reporting into what's going on in conditional access, you need to have Azure Premium or P2, which I don't have. All right, so that's all for now. Uh, Another tutorial talking about conditional access, which, as I have mentioned many times before, it's uh, at the heart of zero trust with Microsoft solution. As always, thank you for watching, and please subscribe, like my content if you like my content, to continue producing this kind of material. Hope to see you next.